Hello, everyone. I assume you can hear me. No. Eh, music's at 2. Whatever. Music can stay at 2. You'll just have to let me know if you can hear me or not. YouTube's always weird because I'm never sure when the stream will actually start. But hello, everyone, and welcome to some more modding fun. We did the last Monday modding stream on Twitch. This time we're on YouTube, so that's new and exciting already, but this is something we used to do fairly often, haven't done much of in a while. But today I put up a poll on whether you guys wanted to see me work on a larger galactic conquest, so a step above Empire's End, or if you wanted to see this, which is error rework stuff. So we're going to be doing the error rework stuff, which is something that we did a large part of on stream last week on Twitch. But basically, the main thing we're doing here is moving what used to be a bunch of XML events into Lua, where it can be a lot cleaner, a lot easier for us to work with. So let's see. I want to grab from Fall of the Republic. We want to have this thing. Nope, we don't want this thing because this is done. This is the old way to do it, so that can leave eventually. Well, I can get rid of that now. But setup state, those are all the actual states. So each era is a state now. And I want to find the thing that regrets tool. Yeah, we're not working on you. You can get out of there. So in Fall of the Republic, we want plugin, state machine, this. So this can stay open. We want the spawn sets, which are over here. All right. So what we want to work on first is going to be this here. We'll also need... Where's story? We are not adding the double-decker ISD. I know that'll be shocking, a surprise, scary to some people, but it's just not happening. I've been paid millions of dollars to not put it in, so... Like, I hate to ruin the illusion for people, but I am for sale, and I was paid millions of dollars to not put in the double-decker ISD. So that's it for that, really. Alright. First thing we need is here. We need this and this. I'm just going to lift this code, because we need this table. EAW is really bad at error handling, so sometimes scripts will crash if you try to look for a planet that doesn't exist. And right now we're spawning our heroes. We get the spawn set here. This is the next thing we're working on. So we're getting a list of things to spawn, and that list lives here. So now we need to actually spawn them. This would typically work, or I actually changed it already, but the basic spawn thing for Empire at War is really bad, where if you look for a planet that's not in the map, even if you are just looking to see if the planet's there, it will crash. So what instead we do is this stupid table where we have all these names of planets set to false. Then we get a list of all the actual planet objects, and then we want this function, set existing planets, which I just want this from. And it goes through, it checks all the planets that are in the list we made here against this list here, and if it matches, it switches this. Let's say it finds the planet in Axis, it'll change that false to true. Now we need something that's a bit more flexible for this, because this is all just done every time in the Galactic Conquest thing. So what I've done here is gotten a list of every single planet in the mod. So rather than having to set up a specific list, when we code in a new planet, we'll add it to this list, then we only have to do it once. And it'll check against all of this. So, this is now... Oh, didn't mean to do that yet. we need to require EAWX util. So we're changing this to planet table. So now this will give us this whole list. Let's see. This will give us this whole list. And this will still give us every planet object in the game. So you have to be careful with your data type, which is basically what kind of thing you're dealing with. With this, we're just dealing with a name. This is just a string. It's some letters put together. Whereas when you're finding all these, you're getting the actual object in the game. So we're basically making a thing that gets from the name to the object. So self dot all planets all mod planets, or no, I'll self dot active planets. Get the planet table, all planets. We need this to be local. So what I really want to do is change this later on. So this is baked farther in. We don't have to do it every state. We just have to do this once earlier on in the framework, because this is like several layers deep, and then this list would just be given to us later. But for now, I've got to do it this way, and we'll figure out where we want to put it later. Technically, we'd want to do this no matter what, so I am going to move it up to here. We'll do it before even getting the current time on entry. Alright, the spawns are fine there. Spawn at safe planets. This needs... this spawn function. Spawn at safe planet. The spawn location table is the third there. So we need self dot active planets. That needs to be capitalized. Tritone, Templar, Ashworm, everyone. Yeah, the money to not put in the double decker is how I moved, how I could afford to, so had to do it. Okay, so for each planet in pairs. This is what's being passed as well. So planet list and planet table. Planet list is all planets. Planet table is the table. All right. Which means we want to get rid of this. So that is just calling that other function. All planets do name. Planet get name. Cool. In this self.active planets. So what this is now doing is, well, let's move this so it's clear where everything is. So here we go. We're getting the table, and we're getting all the objects. Then for each planet in the list of all the objects, it'll get the name of that object. And then if that is in this table we have here, it'll find, it'll find that mention of it and set the name to true. So it's what I was saying earlier. It finds Bandamir, say Bandamir's in the Galactic Conquest. It'll come through and it'll set that to true. And then when we go to spawn a unit, that'll be sent through here. It'll get the list of all the planets it can spawn at. And then it'll spawn the unit we want there. That should work. Hopefully. What updates do you have for Fall of the Republic? Like, say, adding Phase 2 Captain Porto from 2003 series? Phase 2 I don't know if we're planning to change Fordo's armor. Like, we have to take into account what comes from where and like what's just a stylized thing. So we have to change the helmet, and helmets are weird, but it's generally more in what individual people are doing rather than like stuff that get planned is slated for specifically. Yeah, this is all in Lua. So hopefully everyone understood what I just said there. Technically I don't want to do this multiple times, but like eventually this will just be a thing that we pass in and it'll be fine. Because the state we're at is getting the units to spawn. Because like now, right now, what I'll have to do is like copy this, go into the next era, paste it there. It's like you generally want that to be a library function. And I'm trying to think, like, is it worth just putting that into... I don't think it is. Is it worth just putting that as a function we call in there? It's already what happens with the story util, but then we'd have to... It'd be a whole thing. Maybe I should put it in just for now. That'd at least make it easier to work with right now. It's kind of the point. Hmm. You know what? Let's do that so that I have to do less typing later. So story util... I'm gonna put it on the spawn at save planet. Basically, Titanium, what we're doing right now is making it easier to work with everything so that there's not like a mass of XML-based repetitive crap, and just easier libraries for us to work with, and easier for us to set stuff between different eras in different ways. There is... Okay, spawn at save planet. Get save planet table. I don't think we actually need to pass any arguments. Taste you. Okay, self-active planet. All active planets. Alright. So now we're doing the exact same thing, we're just doing it there instead. Which will mean here we can do self-dot active planets equals story dot get safe planet table. Then we need to return active planets. Should give us that. Thank you. Hey, Blackwolf. How's it going? Oh, also, we hit the March goal for donations for Galactic Conquest, so there'll be one of those coming up probably this weekend. Probably this Sunday, the single stream ones. And then, so this goal is for April already. So this will be gone eventually anyways. I just want to make sure, did I fuck what's up here? I don't think I did. Table, yeah. I think that should work. I'm not sure which we'll be playing. I'll probably do a Patreon poll this week for it. It's probably going to be down to, like... Just think of who we haven't done it as yet. That leaves Ariadu, Zinj... Did we do Pentastar yet? I don't think we've done Pentastar. I do live in Canada. I live in Ottawa. So it's possible to actually go outside now. Oh yeah, Pentastar was the second one. So then, did we do Empire? Yeah, the Thrawn campaign when we did Empire. Did we do New Republic? The first one we did was CIS, right? Did CIS? We haven't done Republic. Oh well, figure it out. All right. And our hasn't happened yet. Well, and New Republic, we are doing a full playthrough right now, so that's part of why we haven't done them. We started doing these like right before that started, around the time that started. And that's why I didn't want to do the Republic earlier, but now we haven't been doing Republic for a while. That ended a while. So that's a save option. CIS I don't want to do because we've already done that, and we've got a full CIS playthrough coming soon. How many total heroes are there? It's hundreds. I don't have an exact number, but it's hundreds. Right, hopefully this worked. Probably didn't work. Never works the first time.
Planetary control achieved.
Not crashing. It's not spawning anything. Thanks, JK. Wait a second. It isn't crashing. Oh, Pox did fix a bug with the observable. So I can go to our event handler. Where are you, event handler? Plugin. Event handler. Oh, that'd be in the folder Republic stuff. Plugins, event handler, event manager. There we go. Hotkey for that. Edit. Toggle line comment. So hopefully these should all work now. So like before, any individual one of these events would have to be like a huge block of random XML things with different requirements. Now it can just be any research gets set up like this. This swap, which is dependent on that research, gets set up at it. It's very easy to just set stuff up in the same way. You try don't. Add the Florum Traveling Circus as a faction. That'd be more of a story event. Part of Legitimacy will be having Coruscant. Oh, you guys can't see that? Yeah. Recording. Game. I'll stop it from recording the game. There we go. Now it'll only show the game if I have it above the thing. My bad. Thanks, Rico. Um, what's going on here? It's doing the intro. I'll stone it the regular way first. Spawn list goes first in that. And it's... no, I'm not going to try to... Phone list. Planets. Planet. On player, empire, because we're only doing Republic stuff right now. So let's see if this all works without the fun function. Yeah, there's no plan to do buildable legions. They'd be doing basically the same thing. That broke. Not sure if it's breaking for my stuff or for... What did I learn for code? Just looking at other code. Right, I think it's breaking on my thing. Oh wait, no, it broke after the spawn, so the spawns all happened. So that's at least that. Get out of there. You can get out of there. Get out of there. Let's see if Pox broke it. I'm working on the just basic hero spawns.
System conquered.
Yeah, like Gnosis said, the factions. So Empire at War works weirdly with playable versus non-playable factions, especially in how the AI deals with them. So for non-playable factions, TR or Fall the Republic is the only of the two mod that has non-playable factions that we want to act entirely like playable factions at the moment. So we need to have them technically set as playable, just cut off by the box. Like you can't actually start a GC with them because there's no GCs coded to work with them. But the but the factions are marked as playable, which is why you can start skirmish as them and not have anything there.
Unit in
Let's see if
production.
this works.
System lost.
And... okay, that's all good. All good. Does the Venator work as well? I reduced the era timers and the build timers and everything because testing, same thing, and having it take like 60 weeks to get through all of them wouldn't be very efficient.
Unit in production.
Let's see if it all works. Right, that's working. Table is spawning. That's all fine. It's all still functioning. I don't think I turned on the VSD research timetable, but I don't think we need to really...
Constructing unit.
Yeah,
Unit
it's fine.
cancelled.
That was working. The rest is working, so the bug that used to exist is fine. There be an option to upgrade your ships at creator to have commander rather than waiting for them to spawn? I think we want to keep them a bit more limited. If you could just upgrade the units, then we'd have to have more of the unit types. What I'd like to do is have them be more limited in how often they're spawning, but then have it so that you can upgrade the ships you get. Not necessarily make the heroes higher tier, but make them have better flagships, so it's not like a Dreadnought or a VSD or something. Screen text, not screen text. Screen text then. Okay, I just want to grab this. Checking planet spawns, so that'll just tell us when it's trying to do it for each planet. And it's coming back as false, so... something's going wrong there.
Planetary control achieved.
Trying to do a build limit across multiple different unit types like that would be difficult as well. Okay, it's not getting in there. It is.
Planetary control achieved.
Okay, it is. It is. That works. So it's checking the spawns. It's just not. Not. So this. All right, before I cut this off, then I'm gonna put it back in here, just to see if it'll work in theory. When it's all right, if it works here, then we'll work on putting it back into the library thing again. But if not, then we'll know that something else is wrong with my code. Upgrading heroes to pair them with a capital ship. If you mean like ground units, then no. We avoid having ground units on planets or ground units have flagships for AI reasons for the most part and for balance reasons. And if you want to make something so that you can like mix and match stuff, you need a variant coded for every possible combination. Which, like, you can't just say like, oh, put you with a Venator and then have that be what happens. It's more complicated than that, and it gets bloated very quickly. All of this is Lua script, except for this is XML, or Lua language. You can get some of the original game scripts by installing the map editor, but all of this stuff is like our own code. Yeah, graphics card is really not great. Like, not something that's going to be struggling with Empire at War. Did you actually load troops on capital ships so you can keep them safer? No, they have a specific carrier. You can't say, like, oh, you're going on this one, you're going on this one, you're going on. You can set them all to attach to flagship, but then everything's in one ship. The Clone Wars 4.0 does that, and you'll just get one ship that has 30 icons across the screen, and then if that dies, they're all dead. But you'd still have the standard being that they'd come in on their own little transports. Like, there's no reason to ever bring your ground units in space in Empire War. So it's... Unfortunately, it looks like we're not going to be in the Operation Ace this weekend either. I don't know if we've actually signed up, because I know Ek can't play, so I think he's leaving the sign up to someone else, and none of us have done it. I don't know if they have spots open still. I assume they would, but it's a smaller tournament, so maybe not. Yeah, like, the only hardware thing you really need to worry about for Empire at War is having a processor that has a high enough single core. So it's doing everything fine, except these guys are all set as false. Let's see, if I... this... Because I think if I set that all, it'll just spawn. How did I cook my lobster? I just did bake. It was lobster tail, so I just baked them. Dana didn't like them, so I got more lobster. I was fine with that. Alright, yeah, that all works. Except for where it crashes, because it's looking for a planet that doesn't exist somewhere. I think if we go into large, all the planets will be there. I don't think that will crash. That's basically what we're trying to avoid by making it check the planets against it.
System conquered.
Oh, maybe not. Oh, right, because I changed some to Canada. That's why. Because Canada's definitely not in there. Yeah. So that's why that's crashing. Because it's looking for a planet that doesn't exist. We basically want it to spawn those on a different planet if the planet doesn't exist. And I'll have to come back and turn Canada back into Coruscant. But for our purposes right now, that's what we want. You know what? Just for testing, I'm going to put it back as Coruscant. Make sure that it is working properly. Because I think all those planets are even in the small one.
System control achieved.
Is there a ship from Canada that you would enjoy to make? I mean, the Starhawk, the T-75. Yeah, so that's what the problem was there. It's just failing that check for some reason. Stupid. So everyone go back to Canada. You go back to that. So that all wants to be text. Should be working the same way. There are some other ships that'd be viable candidates for that, but that rather not announce anything until it's actually being worked on. There are some ships that we have done for things like Imperial Reign, like a light assault frigate, the Sphyrna, which we are going to use for Imperial Reign, that may or may not end up in the official cannon ship submod for TR. But what are we doing different? I just copied this directly. Doing the same thing. Yeah, that's what it's doing, Rahul. I'm just not sure why it's not getting the updated, or like why it's not returning true.
Planetary control achieved.
Because like the script's not crashing, it's just not returning true for those where it ought to be. If the script was crashing, then this wouldn't be updating. And when we removed the thing that was checking if the thing was true, it was just getting the planets and spawning them. So that was all working fine. It's just this part. I wonder if it's the tag. Let's see if it's a mess up thing. I need to restart the game because I did while I'm in there.
Planetary control achieved.
Them all to true. See if it's at least checking those properly. Now it doesn't matter if it's changing it or not. It's just going to say it's true regardless. Right? No, that's not. Yeah, I might need to check. Is that working differently than the... Bad Batch, I don't know. That'd be a lot of new art for characters that I don't really like. Yet, at least. We'll see after the show. But, like, they all require specific character art. Which means that's 4 or 5 new models, character models, which is an area where we have a lot to do. 4 new clone team heroes, which is something where we have a lot of easier options and probably more prominent options outside of Clone Wars Season 7. So maybe eventually, but character art is one of the harder things to do. It's not really something I'm itching to do either. We'll have to look at the TR stuff then. See how we actually... Well, for those characters, I don't think they need animations. Uh... Like age. Name past the faction, object type. On location table. I mean, Wrecker, even though he's kind of mean punchy guy, he'd still be running around shooting stuff. His actual skeleton isn't different. Like, scaled up slightly. What am I doing with that? Active planet. This game is spawn location table. Spawn list is already that. Planet table. That's probably it. Yeah, this needs to be all caps. Thank you. You are correct, Rahul. Fuck this stupid game. Edit. I'm sure you can do that in VS Code as well, but I have no idea how to use most of VS Code. Yeah, that should fix it. Hopefully.
System control achieved.
There you go. Thank you, Rahul. See? When people ask, when's the mod gonna release? 90% of why we can't give an answer is because it's impossible to say how long it'll take to do simple stuff because, like, forgetting a comma or that things need to be uppercase or any of that. We don't need you to be open anymore. We don't need you to be open. You to be open anymore. Or utility. Change anything else that needs to be changed in here? No. Return active planets. That should be fine. All right. See if we can just use that library function.
Planetary control achieved.
There we go. That's all fun. That's all great, epic stuff. But next thing we need to do is change the Era 2 start set to have multiple things in it. This is Republic. Fire. Change that. Here. Action. For action hero list in pairs. Now we've got tables in our tables. Do. This find player faction. So for each faction's hero list in this table, we're going to go through, and then there's the subtable, and for each planet's hero spawn list. So each faction's hero list, each planet's spawn list, it should go through and spawn that. Then we'll set up the CISs. This is follow the Republic stuff. So these systems are also going to be used in TR. Alright, so that worked first time. We're not going to be sitting here for an hour figuring out what the fuck I did wrong this time. Have you considered applying for a job at Petroglyph? No. Petroglyph... My skills aren't necessarily transferable to all game design. Like, I'm sure I could learn certain elements of it, but I don't really want to work for a company. I kind of like my job as it is now. And if I did want to make game development more part of my job, I'd honestly rather do, like, streaming creation of an indie game or something. But Petroglyph's a relatively small company that I'd have to move to Nevada. I don't want to do. I like living in Canada, staying in Ottawa. Now you want the CIS as heroes. And we can change Canada back to Scotland. Immobilizer. Thank you, new watchers, for the €2 donation. Hello there, what are you up to today? We are halfway through setting up the new way that air spawns and everything works. The plan is to set it up and follow the Republic first. Make sure it works how we want. Make sure the GCs can be set up differently. That's one of the things that it doesn't do right now is work differently per GC. And then that'll all be ported into Thrawn's Revenge. And then we'll be on track for releasing stuff. You ever consider doing a mod that's just as insane as the Yoden mod? I don't know. It's still a lot of work to do that kind of thing, and then the novelty for me kind of wears off pretty quickly. So I don't know. Because these reworks are the main thing that we wanted to work on uh for this version. Because ultimately the plan is that it's not going to work super differently from the current release. It's just as far as what you see in game, it's just the backend that's getting redone, and then it'll be easier for us to do new stuff later with the actual era changes and Thrawn's Revenge coming. Like Father Republic, the eras aren't fundamentally, but PR is going to work in a very different way. That like the actual in-game changes will be more 3.2 hero. Well, gets you. Opsis gets you two. Idonia Moidia. Gunray. Or gets Cody and Rex, whichever. Alright, and that's it for Era 2. Alright, so let's start with the Confederacy and see where we go.
Planetary control achieved.
Alright, cool. That all works. And for these, I want to make sure I'm only spawning them when I want to, which is supposed to be... yeah, if entry time... So this is supposed to be if entry time is less than 5 seconds, so if you're starting in this era, this is what happens. And we actually want to... Oh, we can get rid of all this now. Want to go to Era 3 next. And we want the Venator research to already finish for this one. There's currently no start of the era scripts for those. Want era 3 start set. Favorite Moncal ship? I like the MC-30s. I think they're neat. Alright, Era 3 start set. Where are you? Are we in Fall of the Republic? We're not in Fall of the Republic right now. We want to be in Fall of the Republic because we want a new file called Era 3 start set, which needs to be .lua. And we actually don't need to be working with this right now, so get rid of that. Right, tech level is 3, Yoda and Vestige on Coruscant. Then on Camino is these guys. Squad Fordo Shakti. Then on Ariadu, there is no Arkin. What? No heroes. Burrito still. You guys. Rex and Anakin on Naboo. Canadian keyboards. Aurelia. Oh, fuck off, Canadian keyboard. Aurelia equals that. Get rid of you guys. Okay, Sundivers spawning. I'm gonna save that just so I can switch it out. Rishi is Fordo. On Calamari's Kit Fisto. I'm gonna turn you into. Rinda gets Remoti. Dantooines, Mace Windu. Oh, Ariadu does get one. Separate from the Sector Force spawn. Or not Sector Forces, but the other thing. Uat gets Yular and Coburn. Alright, and that gets to the CIS. Geonosis is just Dooku and Ventress. Sereno is Sora and Grievous again. Agamar's Kalani. Don't think set up anywhere else. No. Agamar equals Kalani team. Well, is correct. Christophsis is those two, so that's all correct. Boros. No idea. Alright, I think that's it. Yep. Let's go into Era 4. Get out of there. Out of there. And alright, that should all be working. Yes, that's all correct. This is now Era 4 start set. Era 3 start set. We're going to copy you. I'm going to do new file, Era 4 start set.ua. There we go. Get a Pestage Fordo nozzle. Go there now. Amino is just Shock T. Ariadu is probably still just Tarkin. Uwat, nothing there. Karita, you guys. Might end up spacing it that way anyways, but I don't think we'll ever have anything that will. Dilly is a U3. Yeah, this is Lua. This is the boring part, in my opinion. Arinda is still Remodian Leveler, right? Arinda gets Pelian Leveler. Aurelia gets Aelin Kisto. On Calamari, get out of there. Pistos Fisters. Yeah, the Starhawk's been in a lot of stuff. It's in FFG, Squadrons. It's everywhere. Get a sneak peek of the new Borg. They've shown up in the new playthroughs as well as pictures on Discord. Mace Windu on an Axis, so Dantooine becomes an Axis. Delta's on Kashyyyk. Ended well for them. Here you have his Tarkin. You guys are on Kuat still. All correct. Alright, who got doubled up there? Anyone? Karita, Anakin. Nope, I think that's all correct. Alright. Dooku and Ventress still there. Reno, still you two. Kalani's still on Agamar. You're still there. Sopsis is still you two. Alright, cool. All the heroes. Means this file is just doing, well, if it were used, this file would just be doing the static spawn, static fleets. When you add the NJO and post-NJO time period to TR, will those errors not be tied to Imperial Leader? Correct, but they won't work like traditional errors. Like, you won't be progressing from era 1 to 5, then progressing into the Vong War, then progressing into the Dark Nest Crisis, then progressing into Second Galactic Civil War. Those three will all be things that you can either pick your starting era, which will set you up in those periods, but everything else that's within them can happen in different ways throughout the game if you're starting before then. So, like, the Vong War won't care if Pelion is the leader or not. It'll be based on its own thing. Oh, did I miss parcel? Oops, I was looking at the wrong one. Alright, so let's check here.
System control achieved.
Epic. I'll push all that. I'm not saying, well, sort of yes, but it wouldn't go like Pestage, Isard, Thrawn, Vong. The Vong would just happen at some point in the game. It wouldn't necessarily change the era you're in or the tech level you're in. The primary way to think of eras going forward is based on where you're starting. Other than that, they're all more tied to other specific mechanics. Like, there'll be elements of it that control what tech is available to people, but not entirely, not as much as it does now. The primary thing that eras will be relevant for, as far as progression within the game, is the stuff that is directly tied to who is leading the Empire. Like, you aren't going to be progressing to the Vong War, and then everything in the galaxy changes around that. There are different events that are internal to factions, and then the Vong showing up is its own thing that can happen. if you set your starting era to hold on, I will open up putting in buildable raid units in the future. Do you mean like stealth ground units that you can send to planets? Because no. Some heroes will keep stealth. A few may get it that don't already have it, but we will not be making any like generic stealth units that you can invade planets with without taking space. Pretty much, Marmar. I think this is still using Phil's mockup, so ignore the specific labels. That will change. Yeah. Oh, so none of the labels are here. So this would still determine what the state of the galaxy is when you're starting it. So I think Vong would be 8, because it'd be like Pestage, Isard, Thrawn, Palpatine, Karnor, Dala, Pelion, right? So this all controls what the state of the galaxy is when you're starting it. Who's already dead, who's the leader of the Empire, what tech you have access to. You can start it in 8, and you will be starting at the start of the Vong War. You can start it in 9, you'll be starting in the second half of the Vong War. Start it in 10, you're starting in the Dark Nest. Start it in 11, you're starting in the Second Galactic Civil War. But you can start in the Sate Pestage era, and the Vong can, let's say the Vong invade in Era 1, which they typically wouldn't. But that doesn't mean that your tech suddenly changes to 7. That it will have very little bearing on what's going on with the other factions. There will be some events and some research that become available, but it's not all one large game state that changes all that stuff. They take place within their own eras, but they do not necessarily require getting to another era or cause the game to shift what time. Like, you're not doing a time jump that way. They are primarily events that you can also start during. Like, they are factions that can show up. The faction showing up can be an event. The invasion of the Vong can be an event. Corellia Rebellion can be an event. And there's stuff tied to all that. But it's not like, for the Vong to invade, you have to have Pelion as the leader of the Empire. And then it has to be, like, for the Dark Nest crisis to happen, the Vong have to have invaded India. You can have the Dark Nest crisis happen before the Vong. You can have Corellia revolt at whatever time Corellia gets pissed off. Those are all things that can happen. Yeah, Siruvi invading would be an event like that. It's just, if you want to start during the Siruvi invasion, that'd be here. Alright, so that's all that. You're adding over the idea of adding custom design units to the mod. I know I'm part of the hand. Empire, CS, Republic, etc. For most of those factions, there's enough canon stuff to work off of. Where something exists with a name but no design, or a design and no name, then we make up whatever isn't there. Like we did with Raycal, EXF, Saranin. So for stuff like the Procurator, there will be a new design for that. For stuff like the Maelstrom, there'd be a new design for that. But we're not making up something like throwing in the common Fanon Legacy class or something. The faction doesn't need it. They're 100% off the table. Why not make Delta Squad a stealth unit? We may not. That is not something that has been directly planned. There are no current plans to definitely do that, but that isn't currently how it works. It's not impossible that it would. It's not definite that it will. It just isn't how it is right now. So I want to get rid of all the stuff that I've already dealt with. Well, really, the stuff that I still need to deal with is Gisor Delso. Pretty much, Rahul. Like, if the Vong invasion happens, that won't suddenly put Pelion in charge of the Empire. It may make certain techs available to other factions, but it wouldn't be like you're forced into an entirely different game state. There are plans to add more mods like the one that it had the MC-75. There will be more ships added to that one. Team fix up planet locations on the mini map. I'm not sure what you mean by that. What is triggering this? This will be the next thing that I have to set. And also, yes. There's no plans to turn the Vengeance into a regular build. The generic gray one will show up in a couple places, but we don't plan to add it as like a core buildable roster unit currently for anyone. No, we don't plan on nerfing SSDs beyond their movement. You out of here, get you out of here, get here. The Avitha are coded as like a roving fleet. They just go after everything. We don't have very much control over how that works. But that'll eventually be its own faction again. Data. Now. Emperor the Hand ever get dreadnought sized troops? No. They are explicitly not going to use that. That's not a we'll get to it later thing. That's a this faction is built to not have those. Oh, the thing that shows up in the top right, unfortunately, we can't change that. That is an auto-generated, hard-coded thing where we can't change basically any of the parameters. The easiest way to make Corellia auto-form and rebel would be if you control the planet and just do stuff to actively piss it off. Like, Corellia will be starting... Like, Corellia's basically going to always have an unrest stack, so they're always closer to the verge of rebelling. They're all kind of like EU, you'll potentially have the option to release factions. You could just do with Corellia if you really wanted them to be belligerent and all over the place. And they still wouldn't necessarily like you in that situation. But you could also just like not build anything for influence there. Here, so we want to open this. All right, he can spawn on a timer. $400 So that's in here. Date. Mustafar. Rebels. Self-backed planets. We want... self-contain this. How much do I play you for? Not very often. The recorded and stream games were most of it, though there were a few non-stream ones. You have most of the assets needed to make Galactus 4 mod, but the stuff from TR and FOTR would need to be done to complete it. So there are a few assets that don't exist in it. Some stuff like Vader, which is just in the base game. We'd need to have the Death Star art redone. But the main thing with that is more the game mechanics rather than just like... We don't want to just pile a bunch of stuff on the planet and be like, oh, this is the Rebels, this is the Empire. Symmetric warfare, go! Imperial Reign, if and when we get to it, will be somewhat more divergent. Like, government mechanics are a big thing of what we want to do going forward, and I'd want to ship Revan's Revenge with that. Or, not Revan's Revenge. Well, yes, but Imperial Reign with that. That. I know it seems like a bad way to handle it. But we can get rid of this. This is unnecessary. Got that. Should all be handled through the event, I think. Revan's Revenge is still under development, yeah. I think the last modding stream I actually did a quick Revan's Revenge look. Anything in you right now? You want to be in the event manager? WX event slash holdouts, which is just going to be a Delso manager right now. But where are we going to put you there? I already have one set up in Fall of the Republic for that. No. UX, library, EAWX, folder, EAWX, events. Want a new file. Yeah, it's holdouts.lua. Manager. We have the standard one up here. So these are the abstract ones that just go in the main thing. Copy you. You in here. All right. Loads event. Loads event. 8. All right. I don't think we need an activate for this. Right. No, we will want that. Okay, so that's going to be. Do we want a way to come in from the timer or from the death events? So we want here. This holdout's timer means we want to be told about that here. Means you get out of here. And fulfilling this be here. And because it's kind of lame, we still need this. Go here. Don't need to lock or unlock anything. If it's complete, we don't want that. We don't want that. We don't need this. Because this just is used for text stuff. This is just used for text stuff. We do need that because we want to check if it's going to need the other text stuff. Yeah, the website will still be a while. Inertial has been picking away at that. Patch listener. And we need a hero death list. We use that. I feel like we use that. Where? Here we go. Alright, so... Hero killed. If not, that name equals. What do we need the name? The Meningo Unrepentant. These trench dies. Dooku. It's not Dooku. Then return else. We need. Where do you two? Research dummy. You need the player. 4 player equals find player. Bye. Need is active. How was work? I only want to do this if it's not already. Neat. Actually, we don't need to active for this, do we? Yes, we do for that. Because this will just go into... So that's all this needs to do. So if this gets activated by the timer, it still goes in and spawns him, which is cool. Don't need any of this. Don't need a chained event to actually return CIS holdout event. Here, I'll finish. Weird. That named that. No idea how any of this works. Okay, I think that's correct. So on that, it'll go to self on field. If object type is Dooku, then one. Equals 0 to start with. Equals +1. If that, or I don't know. I think it says or if you want or. Yes. Or. 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 French generic. Right, because we just need initial trend. I actually think this. All right, now if there no equals 2, then or actually let's do greater than or equal to 2, just in case you somehow get Dooku Trench into an all kill at the same time. Otherwise, you could screw yourself out of Delso by being too bad at the game. Only bad players get heroes killed. Goes to fulfill, which is that. We want a self.multimedia for this. So where do we? media. If 4-player equals self-dot human player, then do that. I don't think we have a loop for Delso. We have Geonosian loop, which I don't think exists. Maybe it does. I think it does. Either way. Player. For this, do we even need to pass anything? We need GC. Need event name, don't need chained event. Spawn planet. Don't need, yeah, we need nothing. Because it's a singular thing. Need that. Do we just need that? Yeah. Chained event. There. Need that. Don't need any of this. Need this. Complete set to false. That's all we need. Don't need any of you. Activate comes from you. As long as this works, then that all should work. Alright, so that should do what we want for Delso. I'm gonna set you to like 60 and actually test this. Event manager. Self-thought. Oops. GIS. Event. Self. Black Conquest. All that needs to be. Yeah. Now we can just plug that in wherever we want it. As long as that works. Probably doesn't. But mostly should. Back here, Windows. All right, Confederacy. We want to start in era 4. And I broke it. I broke it all. It's all dead. There's some sandwich you don't hate or dislike. I like grilled cheese sandwich if it's just like one thing. Peanut butter sandwich is just one sauce on bread. Um, Hero name owner. Okay, that's hero name owner. The owner for anything.
System control.
Strange that it crashes right away. Start here. I would love to play more EU on the channel, but I don't know how much of an audience there'd be for it here. I want to play more Total War. Like, that's the kind of thing that I'll probably start playing on Twitch more. EU and Total War, and then depending on how people feel about it there, we move it here. That, so I think we have that all more dead. The thing with those, it's like, it's such a long game where once you're committed, you're kind of in for a while. What war games I play? I'd probably do Warhammer 2 at this point. I kind of want to play Empire because I like the naval battles. Hero killed. How are those named in the other thing? I'll use the actual name for that. Where are you? You stay open. And I want you back to events. That. Hero killed. Does that matter? No idea. Ahsoka will be in the mod when we have a body made for her. We have her head made. Okay.
System control achieved.
Tactical battle imminent.
What's next? You do an estimate of how many models are made that do not have a texture. Let's see. That is tools, EWX assets, data texture assets. Some of these are already textured. 31 items in here. There's one there that's not textured. Or that's already textured. Somewhere north of 30. Okay, can I get this way?
Now,
Tactical battle.
I don't think we'll be able to lose trench from just this.
our advantage.
I can progress areas of Pentastar. It's the same way for everyone. You have
Choose your
you
reinforcements.
either progress by the 60 weeks or by the Imperial leader dying.
And it smells good. The enemies.
And I think that's not even showing all the Hapen assets. Let's see. Where was I? Sorry, that's going to be staying still for a second. Extra assets. Yeah, that has none of the like 12 plus Hapen assets.
We shall be ready.
There we go. Yeah, he will die.
The comm channel. Open frequency.
Which GC are you playing?
Your puny torpedoes are no match for my thermal shields.
Self-preservation logic activated.
You guys want to speed that up a little bit?
Raise the shields.
The shields are still recharging.
All forces withdraw.
There's Trench. That crashed? No, it didn't. Dooku.
Challenging a Sith Master. Ill-advised.
Tactical battle imminent.
Ningo, I think, is supposed to be spawned by now, but... to check why he's not.
Choose your reinforcements.
You would have been
Right, Dooku
popular
versus
with
Golem
a
3.
banking clan.
All ready. Roger, roger.
Republic resistance does not concur with my calculations. All forces withdraw.
Yeah. I use Clone Wars Anakin voice instead of like Hayden lines. That's a question for Hannes. I do literally nothing with the VOs, but there's a lot more available in the Clone Wars TV show and a lot more cleanly available than from the movies. If you just work with the movies, there's very little to work with. Because you've got to find stuff that's suitable for everything. We can't call Hayden Christensen in to do stuff. Alright. I think I'll figure out why it's not working later. So for whatever reason, it's not firing that one. But that is going to be enough for now. That's been about 2 hours. In case we end up streaming something later. But either way, hope you guys have enjoyed. I'm hopefully going to do this more often. So far, we're 2 weeks in a row. As long as there's stuff that's interesting enough to do, which right now there will probably be enough, where I know how to do it. Because I want to do some of the coding stuff, some of the modeling and texturing stuff. But either way, hope you guys have enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you next time. Bye, everyone.